What's happening? You're well. Check it out. Welcome to the first video of 2019. I hope that the festivities that you enjoyed on New Year's Eve night were fun, safe, and now you're sitting here watching me, hopefully ready to take action on everything that you're going to hear, ready to take action on everything, every idea that I present to you in some shape or form. I just don't want you to watch me be entertained, be uplifted for a few minutes, and then let it pass on. No, that's not what I want. In fact, I'm gonna pull up a seat because I want to talk to you for a minute, about 5-6 minutes. I don't know however long, but long enough. I can't find the stool ever. Anyway, I'm gonna just leave it right here. Long enough that I can give you something to further your journey or to further your progress on the journey that you're on, to have what you want to have, to do what you want to do, be who you want to be. I hope for you that the objective that you have with all the things that you have planned for your life is to be happier. That's what I hope more than anything. I understand the want to be a baller. I understand the want to have a nice home and travel the world and have pleasantries and luxuries aplenty. I get all of that. But I'm telling you right now, the most important or the main objective that you should have is how to be happier. Because when you have that as the main objective, then everything in your life is enhanced in every role that you play. But it only comes by way, that kind of happiness only comes by way of learning and understanding implicitly two factors that I've been teaching for quite some time. Now, it wasn't always a practice of mine, or a business rather, of me teaching people like yourself or teaching people in industries such as tech, finance, sports, and entertainment how to be happier. It wasn't always like that. It wasn't ever defined until about a year ago, like this is what I do. But what I did find is throughout my 10 years as a direct response advertising marketing consultant, having developed relationships with the clients that I work with and become actual friends with them, they became very intrigued by how I perceived myself and how I approached life. And that became, independent of the work that I was doing with them to help them earn more money for their business, that became a business in itself without me even defining it as a business. I found that some of the most powerful clients, well-to-do clients that have a lot of money, don't have any problems with money or worries about money at all. I found that they would be so intrigued about the things that I would share with them as far as how I saw life and the perspective that I looked at life through or with, from. It was something that they too could find the value and benefit in, and they literally latched on. And they would call me not to talk about so much the processes and systems I'm setting up in their business and what we need to do to increase revenue or penetrate the market deeper and go wider. Independent of those things, these people were talking to me about life. And I remember years ago when I first started at age 22, I heard a late mentor of mine. He passed in 2009, but he says, get good at not just helping people in their jobs or with their businesses, but help people with their lives. I never forgot that. Now, at the time when I was young, I was just thinking about, how do I make more money? How do I become a baller? How do I travel the world? How do I be seen? That was my mode of when I first heard that statement. But as I've gotten older, as I've paid attention to my evolution, I've realized that the most important thing, or things I should say, comes down to one thing: happiness. Period. Whether you admit it or not, what you do, why you do it, and in some cases how you do it, is contingent on whether or not it makes you happy. You see, we all, again, whether or not we want to admit it, we all do what we do because it suffices for the happiness that we are seeking, to a point. Not the totality of our lives, but to a point. For instance, the work that we choose to do. You may say that you do it to pay bills, or you do it to have something to do, or to put your degree to use, or to put your skills to use. Whatever you say you do, at the basis of it, if you peel off the layers of why you think you do what you do, or why you say you do what you do, at the basis of it, it is to create some kind of happiness in your life. Now, if you're doing something that doesn't bring you an ounce or a smidgen of happiness, then I'll guarantee when you look in the mirror, you're looking at a person who is miserable. And being miserable sucks. no matter how you try to define it or how you try to butter it up. When you're miserable because the work that you do isn't gratifying, isn't challenging, isn't exhilarating, isn't fun, that's a miserable, miserable, miserable life. And here's the thing. I've been there. You can change it. And what I'm telling you is exactly how to do so. Now, of course, I can't go into details and specifics as to how to do it. That takes time. But I can give you enough to ponder, to chew on, to consider having a conversation with me in case it's something that you want, or in the event that it's something that you want from me. Now, let me tell you this. The idea of being happy confuses a lot of people. And it confuses people because we live in a society that has a different definition of what happiness is every time we turn around, especially living in the social media era. We have this fixation, this obsession, if you will, of looking like we're happy versus actually being happy. Let me tell you where that stems from. That stems from not having enough sufficient love and awareness or self-awareness within your very own being. That's what that comes from. When society is the measuring stick as to if you're happy or not, then that's telling you one thing, that within the confines of your own mind, you do not see yourself correctly and you don't think of yourself uncritically. You're very critical of yourself and you see yourself in a light that if you were someone else giving advice to that person to change how they see themselves, you would offer a completely different set of ideas and advice to that person, but you won't do it for yourself. We feel as if we're above being persuaded or being, how should I say, influenced by what we see celebrities or what we see society or what we see on social media. Nah, we're all human beings. We're all fragile. Yes, we're strong, but we're also fragile. We're not so strong to think that what affects other people can affect us. It's only so much that if we continuously put ourselves in direct line of seeing what it is that people deem happiness to be, what it is that people deem being happy is about. After a while, if we continuously allow that to be in our scope and how we view life, then eventually it will affect us in how we view our own lives, how we view our own selves. And that's what I want to tell you today. Happiness is contingent on only two factors: how you see yourself, seeing yourself correctly, and how you think about yourself, thinking of yourself uncritically. That's where happiness begins, and that's where happiness ends. Now, you may do work that does indeed provide a great income. You may do work that does indeed provide you a great lifestyle, but you do not experience the kind of happiness that you felt you would experience having the things that you have. You see, the problem isn't the job. The problem isn't the money. The problem is you never learn how to see yourself correctly. You never learn how to think of yourself uncritically. I've worked with people who have millions of dollars, who have no money worries at all, but have been intrigued by the very idea that the reason they aren't as fulfilled as the person in their position should be is because they never learn how to see themselves correctly and think of themselves uncritically. You see, again, happiness begins and ends there. It can begin and end nowhere else. It begins with you. So I call myself a perspective and performance coach. The reason I do so is because performance, in the context that I teach, performance is how you live, how you act in all roles that you play in life. Perspective is how you see yourself in the world or in the roles that you do play. And once you are able to change the perspective of how you see yourself and how you think of yourself, everything follows suit. Everything. I can't say it enough. Yes, achieving things and achieving something that you worked hard for brings about an exhilarating feeling that, is indescribable until time passes and you realize like, wow, okay, that lasted for a little while, but what's next? There is no next. The next is within. Once you learn how to see yourself correctly and think of yourself uncritically, the next will be inside, not outside, because as long as you're chasing the next outside, the fulfillment and sustainable, fulfilling happiness that you desire will elude you. But once you get that it's about the internal climb, and that everything follows suit on the outside based on how you feel and the world you create within, that's when magic happens. See, that's the secret. That's the secret that people have been, trying to tell you and trying to sell you for quite some time. I'm just telling you flat out on a YouTube video. The key to you being happier, no matter where you sit on the socioeconomic scale, no matter what position or title, is behind your name. You want to be happier? Learn to think of yourself correctly and see yourself uncritically. That is the key. You're the alpha and you're the omega of your life experience. Stay G.